One of the first things every potter learns is that the pottery wheel spins. But what many beginners don't realize is that how fast it spins can make the difference between success and frustration. Speed isn't just about making the process faster, it is one of the most important tools a potter has. Just like your hands, your water, and your clay, wheel speed changes throughout the making process, and knowing when to speed up or slow down is a skill that takes time to develop. So, why does speed matter so much? The answer lies in physics. When the wheel rotates, it creates centrifugal force, the outward force that acts on the spinning clay. At higher speed, the clay becomes easier to center because the spinning motion helps distribute the mass more evenly around the middle of the wheel. That's why experienced potters often begin with a relatively fast wheel speed when centering a fresh lump of clay. The faster rotation helps smooth out small imbalances, making it easier to guide the clay into a stable, centered position. But once the clay is centered, the job changes. Now you are no longer trying to control the entire lump, you are beginning to shape it, and shaping requires precision. One thing is, if the wheel continues spinning too fast, the clay can become difficult to control. The walls may stretch too quickly, the rim may wobble, and even the slightest movement of your fingers can dramatically change the form. What felt stable a moment ago can suddenly collapse. This is why experienced potters gradually reduce the wheel speed as they move through each stage of throwing. Opening the clay usually requires a moderate speed. Pulling the walls often works best at a slower speed, more controlled pace. And when it is time to refine the shape or add delicate details, many potters slow the wheel even further. Think of it like driving a car. On a long open highway, higher speeds feels comfortable and efficient. But as you enter a crowded street filled with turns and intersections, you naturally slow down. Precision requires control, and control often requires reducing speed. Pottery works much the same way. Another reason speed matters is because clay itself has limits. Clay is soft and flexible, but it is not infinitely strong. If the wheel spins too fast while the walls become thinner, centrifugal force begins pulling outward on the clay with greater intensity. Thin walls may start to flare unexpectedly, lose their shape, or even tear apart. Many beginners mistake this for poor technique, when in reality, the wheel may simply be spinning too quickly for the stage they are working on. Speed also affects the potter. A rapidly spinning wheel demands quicker reactions. Every movement happens faster, leaving less time to notice small problems before they become large ones. Slowing the wheel often gives beginners more confidence because it creates time to think, observe, and adjust. In many ways, slowing down actually gives you more control, not less. Interestingly, there's no single correct wheel speed. The ideal speed depends on many factors: the size of the piece, the type of clay, the amount of water being used, the stage of throwing, and even the potter's personal style. A large bowl may require different speed than a small teacup. Softer clay may behave differently from a firmer one. Every project asks for its own rhythm. That is why experienced potters don't simply memorize a speed, they learn to feel it. Over time, they develop an instinct for when the clay needs more momentum and when it needs more gentleness. Their foot naturally adjusts the pedal without much thought, responding to what the clay is communicating. And in many ways, wheel speed becomes part of the conversation between the potter and the material. Too fast, and the clay becomes difficult to guide. Too slow, and the clay may resist movement or lose efficiency. Somewhere between those extremes is a rhythm where the clay feels balanced, responsive, and alive beneath your hands. Perhaps that is the real lesson. Pottery isn't about keeping the wheel at one speed, it's about knowing when to move quickly and when to slow down. Because every beautiful pot is shaped not only by skilled hands, but by finding the right rhythm at exactly the right moment. And sometimes the difference between a collapsed pot and a beautiful one is nothing more than the speed of the wheel.